Adaptations in the Wide World of Frogs. Lesson 8. Learning targets. I can write the beginning of a Pork-White tale that establishes the situation and character and use precise and interesting phrases. I can read my Pork-White tale aloud accurately and with expression. Take a minute back and say these learning targets aloud. Let's review our class narrative. And since Mrs. Schindler's class and Mrs. Jeffries' class are working on two different narratives, think about what your class is saying in their story. And think about, why do pollywogs wiggle? Read over what we've done so far. How did we establish the character? How did we establish the setting? What do close readers do? Read small chunks of text slowly and think about the gist. What the text is mostly about. Circle or underline words they don't know. Use strategies to find the meaning of words they don't know. Context clues, affix clues, root word clues. Use a dictionary. Go back in the text and find evidence for your answers. Write notes or answer questions about the text and discuss with their partner or group. Narrative text are about real or imagined experiences. Are Pork-White tales about real or imagined stories? Right, they're about imagined stories. They also have a clear sequence of events and make sense and is easy to understand. These texts have a beginning that establishes the situation and introduces the characters and or narrator, a middle that describes the central problem and explains how the characters respond to the problem, an ending that has a resolution to wrap up the problem and explains the message or purpose of the narrative. New why. Get out your new why question planning from Lesson 5. It's on pages 18 and 19. Now review your plan or finish it if you haven't already done so. Today we are working on the beginning. So you're just going to go ahead and review these pages. These pages should be complete or about complete. And we're going to reference these pages when we're continuing our writing. So sketch the beginning of your narrative on your graphic organizer. So this right here is your graphic organizer. It's in your workbook, I believe pages 27 through 32. If not, it's also in Seesaw. Show evidence of what, when, where, and who. Okay, so you're going to think who, where, what is the situation? What is happening in the story? What is like the moral or the lesson? And then you're also going to write the characters. Now you're going to look at the narrative writing checklist, and we're going to focus on RI 3.1. And we're going to look at this one. I use some information from what I have read to create the character, setting, or events in the story. Okay, that's our focus when you're filling this out. Now, I know there's multiple pages, but you're only going to focus today on the situation and the character. So today's task, independent practice, planning a Pork-White tale. New why question, finish planning your tale, complete for homework if needed. So if you have not finished this part, make sure you get this done and complete that part for homework. Make sure you write the beginning of your story on the situation and character pages. So these two pages. You're only looking at those two pages. Silently reread the beginning of your story twice. Fix errors and revise your work. And revise with the partner. So if you were not in class today, find a grown-up or maybe a sibling that can help you revise your work. How'd you do? I feel totally great about what I achieved today. So look at your narrative writing checklist, and we're going to look at the criteria that I have highlighted in the box up there. And while we're looking at those three, we're going to mark Y for yes and N for no if you feel you have achieved your goal today. So I'm going to go back up here, and remember our pages 25 and 26, but we're only looking at these three. So over here it says yes or no, and in this box you're going to put a Y or an N. So I use some information from what I have read to create the character, setting, or events in the story. Did you do that? Put a Y or an N. W3.3C. The events in the narrative make sense and are easy to understand. Did you do that today? Put a Y or nay for yes or no. In W3.3a, I introduced the narrator and established the situation. If you did that, put a Y or an N. Now, if you put an N for anything, it's okay. You can go back and add that part now. All right, fluent readers. Follow along as I read this aloud. Read smoothly. Correct themselves when they make mistakes. Read at an appropriate volume for everyone to hear. Read at an appropriate pace for everyone to understand the words you are saying. Pause at commas and fully stop at periods. Read questions like questions and exclamations with excitement. Change the voice and volume depending on meaning. Change the tone to match the message. Sad, serious, funny, joyful, surprised. Read dialogue between quotation marks with expression to convey meaning. And change their facial and body language to convey meaning. And we're going to continue working to contribute to be a better world. Habit of character. I use my strengths to help others grow. What does it look like? Helping someone with something that I can do well. Sharing my work with someone to explain how it meets the criteria. Providing kind, specific, and helpful feedback. So when you're working with a partner, make sure you do all those things. What does it sound like? I think I can help you with that. Is there anything I can help you with? I can see how your work meets this criteria, but have you thought about? Remember, it's targeting what you notice they did well and what you think that they can improve on in a positive way. All right, get to work and make sure you turn in your work in Seesaw.